of others, but that ride out there to Collarenebri was quite amazing. And Collarenebri sits on the Barwon River, and it runs into the Murray, and they're the lifeblood of a very huge parched state. We're talking, you know, properties, sheep properties and that sort of stuff of close to 500,000 acres and stuff like that, you know, huge things. Out there when we first arrived, in that first neighbourhood, I went to Pocketaroo, which is a railhead outside Collarenebri, and you had a nearest neighbour of 27 miles away. I mean, that's the sense of community, you know, and people, when you grew up, your first school was kind of like the school of the air, which was like basically, you know, open university, you know, but it's you actually talking over a radio to a teacher some hundreds of miles away, maybe in a centre like, you know, Newcastle or Sydney or Bathurst or somewhere like that, and you were actually conversing with them over the radio. So, very different upbringing.
As a young person, you had a lot of Aboriginal friends in that part of the country. Did you experience much of the Aboriginal traditions and culture?
I did, actually. My father was, you know, as I say, with this frontier newspaper man, he had an amazing way with people, and he didn't see colours or any ethnicity at all. They were just people to him, and that came through all the way through all of our family. But in so doing, he wanted to make sure that there was a community. Now, a lot of these communities in Australia at that stage had kind of like 25-mile exclusion zones around them where, excuse me, Aboriginals weren't allowed to go. For why? It harkened back to those old days whereby, you know, city statutes, people who didn't want the Aboriginals coming around put down these laws. And my dad was always against that sort of stuff. Now, having said that, I mean, you weigh that up with his thoughts and wanting equality and wanting to do things for Aboriginals, but they made some stupid errors. I mean, you know, there was a part next to the Barwon River, just slight outside town, where the Aborigines used to camp. And so the Rotary clubs, all the service clubs of the town decided to get together and do something to spruce it up a little. So they went out and I was with them as a young fellow helping, you know, push carts, and they laid around about a dozen kind of like 6 foot by 6 foot concrete slabs so that they could make their humpies, which is what you call them, their humpies on these concrete slabs, so that when the rains came, it wasn't muddy and dirty and all that sort of stuff. But they didn't know that the Aborigines like the dirt, the soil, because that's more natural.